Alright boys, it's time for another giveaway. As you can see, we're on the Stunt Bug Eye, and that's because this is the motor that we built for one of you guys. And this time we are doing a horizontal minarelli. We have a complete engine that is ready to be dropped in a scooter, and that's gonna go to one of you guys. One of you guys will be lucky enough to win this engine here by simply just grabbing something off the website. So in this engine, we have a Polini Corsa cylinder with a Polini race crank in here, all fresh Polini bearings, and then we have a full entire CVT setup as well with a CP21 carb on here with a stage 6 intake. By simply grabbing any item off the merch shop, as simple as a new sticker pack or one of these sweet little keychains, or by simply grabbing any of the new designs that we have on the website. Check out MOPBOYZ.com. Grab yourself some entries. This giveaway will be going on until October 10th, so you have plenty of time to get your entries in. We will be doing a live drawing at the end, and someone will win this engine. So make sure you get your entries in now, grab some merch, support the website, and let's get to the video. What's up guys, we are pretty much on the final countdown on prepping everything for the big ride out coming up next week. If you don't know, that is called Ferry to Ferry. It's up in Seattle, Washington, and we go to it every year. We're bringing the blue bike, but I'm having last minute impulsive decisions right now. We are doing some things to the bike that are needed, but I just thought of some ideas. I think we're about to pull a very impulsive move and change this whole entire thing up right now. Last time we rode with the homies on this, it had low power in the top end. The bike feels fine, doesn't feel like it's low compression, everything feels good. I took the Malossi CVT I had in this bike, swapped it into this bike with the rollers. But if everything is okay right now when we go take this thing on a test ride, I'm kind of thinking about swapping the plastics onto this bike. I think it would look pretty cool to have these gray inners on the blue. And one last crazy thing that I really want to try is to change these bars. I say it a lot and I'll say it again. I am not a big fan of the naked handlebars. And that is simply because when I ride a stock Zuma, I realize I like back sweep a lot. The way these things are, these pro tapers, and I've looked through multiple motorcycle style bars to find ones with more back sweep, and I cannot find more than like 3 degrees. But if you look, they're pretty straight. Now, if you look at the stock ones, they have a lot of back sweep. They kind of curve into you. I rode a lot of BMX in my days, and I've always liked bars with back sweep. Thinking about making my first ever stock bars naked bar setup. The OEM bars like this, which you usually run the cluster on, welding a crossbar across the bar, and then putting those on. For multiple reasons other than just the back sweep, I'm gonna be honest with you, what scares me a lot is these stems right here. This is a straight stem, and these are very cheap and cheesy. And if you were watching along the Piaggio build, I had one of those stems on here. And I literally bolted the stem up and pulled up and stripped a bolt completely out the threads on this thing. Now there's a bunch of videos online you'll see of people crashing or snapping these stems, and I've heard horror stories about it. I would like to know myself if I'm not going to upgrade this bar clamp to a more stronger and durable one, that I at least have a solid area that my bars are being grabbed onto. So that's just how I'm feeling right now, boys. And these are locking, as you remember, the stock one. A little more safe. So yeah, we're going to make that work. Chop all these brackets off, grind them all down, weld the crossbar. That's what we're getting into today. First things first, though, I'm going to put some gas in this thing because we ran out of gas on it the other day. Fill her up and go feel her out with the new variator and see if I'm liking it or not. Oh, it feels so much better. I still want to put a little heavier rollers in here. I think a little heavier rollers will still do justice in here. All right, we're gonna up these a little bit and try this again. I did not like the way that was still feeling. All right, boys, and that brings us to today's sponsor of the video, Cooper. Cooper is a free browser extension that allows you to save money when shopping online, because smarter shoppers use Cooper. The way I see it, why pay full price for something if you don't have to? Cooper is a great tool because it finds and applies the best coupon codes, ensuring that you never miss a deal regardless of where you shop. It supports popular browsers like Chrome, Edge, Opera, Firefox, and Safari, making it accessible to anyone. And getting started is simple. To use it, install the extension here on your browser, register an account, and then browse your favorite shopping sites. So head down below to find the Cooper extension link in my description and install Cooper now to save you some money. It's literally free money, guys. This is a no-brainer. I think one of the things that'll make this a lot easier doing these projects in the future would be a motorcycle lift. I went ahead and threw one of those in my cart over here. Let's see if Cooper can save us money. So this is kind of what I'm looking at. I think this is going to help us a ton for future projects in the garage. Let's go ahead and check out So we'll go ahead and go to the checkout. We'll click apply coupons. It's gonna run through all 10 of these coupons real quick and see where we can save our money. We just saved $73.95. And as you can see right here, coupon code applied, $74 saved. That is huge. That will leave us a little bit more budget for adding some more parts to this thing as we continue on with the build for this. You don't realize how much money you are throwing away until you realize something like this. All for free that we were buying something anyways. Smarter shoppers use Cooper, and you should too. Use the link down below in the description to sign up and add Cooper to your browser extension and save your money now. And just like that, we are now gonna save our back with the motorcycle lift, and we're also gonna save some money. So let's get back to work on this thing while we wait for that lift to come in. These were all 5s, so now we got all 6s. Got a ton of shims on this bike, as you can see. Probably can take out some, seeing that the pulley's not going all the way up. Alright, let's go see if it's any better now. Feels pretty good now, not gonna lie. We're gonna try upping 3 of the roller weights to 7 grams right now, aka going from all 6s to now basically doing all 6.5 because we're going 3 and 3. So now with 7 grams. Come on, we gotta get this thing going. Sun's going down, boys. We gotta get to work. All right, this is now with 3 7-gram rollers and 3 6s, aka equaling all 6.5s all around. So it helps keep that revs a little bit lower. So it honestly sounds different now too. Just see how now that we lowered the revs, the pipe stays in the power band. It was falling out of the power band because we're at like 12K and this pipe does not have power at 12K RPM. So we help those revs stay lower. It keeps a little bit more power. This bike just made a crazy sound, dude. Hold on. Let's see if we can make that sound again. What the hell is that? It's gotta be something clutch related because it stops when the clutch disengages. All right, boys, I believe I have discovered the issue. And this has been an issue with this bike. As you can see, the different shades on the tire here and this color is oil. And that is because this gearbox has been leaking oil for probably the past year. Tell the color right here, it was pulling up down here originally, but it's coming out of the seal right there. Really, really bad. And that seal's almost too far in now at this point. So I'm gonna show you why I think that's the issue right here. So I went ahead and I took the clutch and everything off of the BWS, the whole entire assembly, because of that crazy noise that we were just hearing there at the end. It's the pulley and the clutch that was in here right now, the stage 6. It's a very, very beat up stage 6 clutch. And the spring, and here's the pulley. This pulley is so rough right now. It doesn't even, it's so rough. That thing desperately needs to be rebuilt. But just to get a quick try, I went ahead and swapped the entire BWS system CVT setup onto here. And it was good for a second, and then it started feeling really weird again. Didn't make a crazy sound like last time, but it started feeling really weird. So I took it back off and I noticed all this oil that's got now sprayed, right? That's coming out of this little seal. It's going through the back of there, oiling that up like crazy in there, and then shooting out into the clutch. Because look at the oil that's pulled up in this clutch right now. You can see the different shades of color back here. That's all oil pulled up. I think that's causing the clutch to slip, because now this one's all getting glazed too. So with that being said, we gotta pull this gearbox apart and see what's going on here. Looks like it's leaking out of a lot of spots, but we're stuck with a little bit more work, boys, but let's get this thing out, drain this gearbox, and see what's going on back there. Supposedly, we're not supposed to run the secondary spring washer here when you run this Polini gear cover, so we're taking this one out. Supposedly, that's a problem. And maybe that's some of our issue, maybe not, but I guess we're not supposed to run that. So run the standard one, and that's it. Supposedly. That's what the paper says on the Polini gearbox. It says if you have a spring washer under your secondary gear, that you will not need that. just the standard washer. Scared because I couldn't push the seal back out without pushing the shaft out, but what I did was knock it even because half of it was far in and half of it wasn't. So hopefully this will stop it from leaking. I doubt it though, so we might have to get an OEM seal. Maybe we'll find that at Screw Swap Shop. Maybe we could do that up in Oregon. Alright, gearbox is on and most of the CVT is put together, but we gotta cut this because it's getting too late to make these loud noises. So I'm gonna get these bars chopped up and kind of get them prepped for when we want to run a crossbar across, but we're gonna have to cut all these tabs off, so I'm gonna do that real quick. Alright boys, here is what is going down right now on the Zuma. So we got everything thrown back together back here. We're gonna have to test ride it tomorrow. It's a little too late now. Hopefully it's not leaking anymore. Otherwise I can either take the OEM seal out of another cover I have and try to swap seals, or just put an OEM cover on. Worst comes to worst. Hopefully we fixed it. The seal was very uneven, so it is too far in there, but there's no other way to get that out without pressing the bearing out and trying to hit the seal from the other side. So it's a little iffy on if we're gonna make that work, but we shall see here soon. Like I said, I want to swap the innards. I went ahead and decided I'm gonna do it. We're stripping this bike down after we already took a bunch of parts off this thing. We're gonna take more parts off it now. Bars, quickly chop the tabs off just to make sure we can fit all our mounts on here. Make sure we like everything. Did not have time to actually grind it all smooth like I wanted to, and I didn't have time to do the crossbar. We're gonna have to go get some metal for that because I was gonna use some scrap metal, but I want to do it clean. That is currently where we stand though, so I'm gonna go ahead right now and strip this thing down and get all these gray innards plastics off of here. So we need to take pretty much everything apart in order to do that. So let's do that real quick, boys.
My boys. When that two-stroke pop, tell me who want to smoke with us. 12 o'clock on your block is...
Alright boys, I think we have to do it. That looks insane. Looks like a whale. That looks sick, dude. Sad we won't have all our stickers now.
Get behind me, throttle up and dip. Scooter so damn wet, came out water like a fish. Malosi and Polini, stay up on me, bitch, I'm dipped. Ping, 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 ping. This scooter go.
Alright boys, there is a rough look before we change over the bars. This looks incredible. I don't think I've ever seen anyone do this combo with a BWS this year with the gray innards. Alright, I am fully stripping down the handlebars now on this bike. Taking everything apart, and we'll put the stocky style ones on, see if everything's lining up good. And then we have to take the stock ones back off again to actually paint them and finalize them. But I'm gonna show you why I think these are super sketchy. First, let alone if you felt the weight of this is just cast aluminum. It's super, super weak. But the number one thing is, come around to this backside here, you'll see this little slot here in the stem. And that little slot on the stock bars is a pass-through locking bolt. So the bolt goes through the hole in here and kind of locks into here. So you physically cannot pull the bars up if the bolt's in there. Even if the bolt's loose, it's going to keep your bars straight and from coming out. You have to get exactly lined up for it to even pass through. And now, even with the bolts loose, the bar doesn't move. Bar can't come off either. If you look, bars won't come off, even with this bolt completely loose. That's a locking bar. Now, when you go with these aftermarket bars right here, they do not have that. It is literally, the only thing they do have is in here, there's a little bar in here that if the stem's all the way pushed down, it can't turn. But when you're only relying on 2 bolts going into aluminum to hold your whole entire bar on while you pull all your weight on wheelies going back, is very, very scary. So there's videos of people just pulling these things straight off and crashing. Yeah, we're not trying to do that. I also had the one on the Typhoon just pull the threads right out of here, and when I went to pull up the bars, luckily I was just going out the driveway, but it literally just pulled it right out of here. So these are known to fail and very, very sketchy. So I'm going with the OEM bars as I talked about, and lucky enough I was able to take the crossbar off my Pro Taper bars and slide it onto here. So once we get these painted and actually look nice, now knowing that I don't have to weld the crossbar on, I can literally bolt this thing onto there, which is super, super sick. So it's gonna look like I have Pro Taper bars, but I'm gonna have the security of having the OEM bars being safer, and I'm gonna have the back sweep, which I really, really like. So I am very, very happy that this is gonna work out exactly what I was hoping for. So now she'll look something like that, but obviously painted, and then we're gonna have to mount all our gauge and all that stuff back up on here. I think it's gonna look really good. All right boys, here is the bars now after we hit it with some paint. So they're satin black, Steel It, best paint around, honestly. It looks pretty good. I don't think I missed a spot, not that I see. But we grinded off all the tabs, and the bars look smooth now. We got it pretty good. You can kind of see where I grinded, but no big deal. We got so much controls and stuff going on in these bars that they're kind of full. So that brings me to the point where now I have to remember how I had this. I might have to look at some photos. All right, nonetheless, I'm gonna get all these mounts and everything on in the order we had it, put the crossbar on, and then we'll be able to see exactly how they are all going. But basically, these are the parts for the crossbar. The crossbar is very simple, and then just these clamps right here, and now these slide right down all the way over everything. So I don't want to scratch the paint yet, but we'll get everything on there. Here's how we're looking with the OEM bars with the Pro Taper crossbar. We're getting the Speedo mount kind of set up on there. I got the fuel gauge mount to do first over here as well, and then kind of throw everything else on. So looks super clean, and like I said, a lot safer now that we have that in there. So yeah, we also have our gray panels here that we're swapping over, and I always have a problem where the headset on this bike gets a little tight or a little loose. So I don't know what it is. I just went through, took it all apart right now, re-greased it, and then kind of put it back on. But there's an issue where it'll wiggle back and forth, but it feels like it's also binding, where it's like it's wonky. So what I did was cut a hole in this, so now when we're riding and we're out whatever, I don't have to worry about trying to take this panel off to fix that headset. If it does get tight, I can just reach a screwdriver in there and pop that thing over now. So with this little access hole right to that nut for the headset cap, that's perfect. So we're gonna go ahead now and just finalize setting up the bars here, get all of our stuff mounted on the bars, make sure we're all set, and then after that, we gotta go test ride this thing because we changed some stuff tuning on it, and we gotta make sure she's dialed because we leave in 12 hours. All right, boys. Technical difficulties going on right now because we just got it all installed, as you can see. Got all the plastics on there, everything was looking good, and then grip glue that I put on the throttle got stuck to the throttle itself, and the throttle wouldn't twist anymore. But then I noticed taking that off, which is kind of a good thing it got stuck, because look how frayed this cable is right here at the end. Crazy, it's literally about to snap at any moment. So I'm now changing the throttle cable after I just put the plastics on. So we're gonna take it all back apart. And then we'll go test it, and then we'll go tune it. We're getting short on time here, boys. All right, boys, we just test rode the Zuma. The Zuma is running absolutely perfect except for two things. I do not like these grips at all. They're way too thick in diameter, and they're kind of slick, so it just feels super weird. I'm used to like the thinner style grips that I run, these ODI style ones on everything. So we are going to be swapping those again. What a waste of these grips, but swapping them to these ones right here. So gonna cut these ones off, do that real quick. And I'm also gonna adjust the throttle cable a little bit more. I want a little bit more of a quick style on that throttle. I went to like the highest setting, so I'm gonna go back and adjust that, and then I think we're dialed in, boys. Let's see how she's feeling. Swap the grips out. Oh, it feels so much better with these grips. Wow. Feels way better. All right, boys, Zuma is prepped and ready now. I just rode it for the last time. I'm loving it right now. So it is set up for a lot more on the top end, which is usually always a problem I have. I always have my bike set up for how we ride around the city, and then we go on this long ride and it's like 40 miles per hour and it's gutless. So it is tuned up right now, and it looks absolutely amazing with the gray innards. I'd never thought that it would look so good. Look how bad it looks now with the BWS red on black compared to how it used to look. The gray innards definitely make a big difference, and we got everything dialed back here now. So as you can see, we got one storage bag because you know these Zumas have no storage. So how we prepped it for the ride last time is we always have a fanny pack up front here, but I also added one here now. So I ran it through the plastics, kind of looped it around through the innards of the plastics. So we have another bag here, which I'll put, you know, daily supplies in here, and a beverage because I never have a spot for the beverages. And then in the back here, we got the old tool bag that's always on the back, and that is full of our oil and all our tools and everything below that. So Now we are fully ferry to ferry prepped on the bike. You can't even tell the difference right now with everything going on in the front right here. You'd have to look around from the back. Come around over here. So this now is exposed and it looks kind of cool rather than have the big old clamp and like the 2-piece bars. It looks kind of sick, and we had it painted so it looked really, really good. And then of course the Pro Taper crossbar, which obviously makes this whole thing complete to make it look like it has the handlebars on it. But quick throttle is dialed right now. I'm going to reroute this throttle cable around the front just to prevent this from happening. I don't know how that happened, but yeah, we got the better feeling grips on there. So that is dialed. But that is how we just made custom bars and got rid of this sketchy setup. Look how forward I used to have to run these bars, because if you look, the stock bars have a curve here, and this curve sets your bars in front of your stem. And it's kind of a feeling you want. You kind of want the bars in front of the stem, not direct. Otherwise, it kind of feels like you're riding like a push scooter. So in order to kind of feel that, I used to run my bars that much forward, which is kind of crazy to replicate that feeling. But obviously was not a fan of that. So we got the stock bars on now. Big fan of that. But another way, if you don't have a Pro Taper style crossbar like I did, able to slide on, you could just weld a bar right across, which was going to be originally what I was going to do, and I've actually done that on multiple scooters. Let me show you one real quick. In the boneyard, we got the old 150 GY6 right here. This one we straight up welded a crossbar on stock OEM bars, and then we just ran that Pro Taper foam pad, and it works perfectly fine too. But either way, stock bars are the move. Unless you have something that is solid and sturdy. This one has a bolt directly through it. That is dialed. I like that. But stock bars are the move, and that's how we just fix that, boys. This shed has just been full of junk. It was supposed to be like a mini workshop. That's kind of originally the plan. Now it's just like a stockpile of death yard, boneyard stuff. We need to get to work on that Banshee. All right, getting distracted here. Can you give the donk like 10 seconds of silence? So now we are basically just throwing everything at the end of the garage, prepping up. So we're getting tool bags ready, oils ready. We're dropping the YSR off, so we got the YSR prepped over here. And yeah, the other Zuma. This is your last and final reminder of the video. Get your entries in right now, MOPBOYZ.com. Every item purchased on the website is one entry to win Polini Corsa 70cc horizontal minarelli right there, fully built, ready to go. Drop in your bike, and we're out. We are headed out to Seattle now, and we'll see some of you guys at Ferry to Ferry. Bye. Also, quick update, I forgot to mention, the seal in the back does not leak anymore. It wasn't leaking after we fixed it, so I think we're good back there, boys. Let's go.